Alrighty, I hope you guys could see. So these are my notes. We're just gonna do half of level 1 today because who cares, you know? This is the original workbook that they give you. I did mine at Napa Valley Wine Academy, and that was really fun. That was a good experience. I'll tag them below. They do offer like a lot of things. These are the wines that they gave me. I don't know what way you guys could see that. But I'll also link them all below. So this is my workbook that's broken, but this is my personal notebook. So I'll go through you on this book. But like if you guys could see that. I'm just only gonna do a little bit because I'm trying to have fun and drink after this. So first I'm gonna do a little bit. Lena, that's my name. I'm bored. Okay, so I'm just gonna go over the first 5 pages. How about that? Alright, well I put some music on for you guys. I hope you don't judge my music sense, because I picked this music and I really like it. So anyways, let's go to the first question. What is wine? Any answers? Wrong. Just kidding. You're probably right. Wine is an art. It's a process. But overall, wine is fermented grape juice. Ding, 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 ding. It comes from 2 parts of the grape, the pulp and the skin. The pulp is soft, fleshy, and the color is a question mark. The skin is red, or it can also be golden, as in the green ones. So you have your dark grapes and your light grapes, and these ones are golden and those ones are red. Tannins. Tannins come from the skin. Tannins are what makes your mouth dry. It could feel like your teeth are wearing socks on it. A lot of people like to describe it like that. That is a sock. And these are your teeth. And your teeth are wearing the socks. Okay, so no matter what, they're both the same. Red and the white grape are both the same. So also the pulp is responsible for holding the sugar, the water, and the acid. That's where all of that comes from. The skin is responsible mainly for the tannins and for the color. So then with the white, you get the goldish color. With the reds, you get the reddish color. Next question. Okay, so now the fermentation. Obviously, you guys know that wine is fermented by using yeast, which is a microscopic organism that eat the sugar. Yum, 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 Pac-Man style. Oh, there's a bug biting my foot. ATM. You see? Anyways, got rid of that. So, yeast eats the sugar, and then it converts it into alcohol and releases carbon dioxide gas. Sugar plus yeast equals alcohol plus carbon dioxide. So you put these 2 together, you'll get these 2 together, which equals alcoholic fermentation. This is one of my favorite things to tell people, because sometimes you're confused, like, what does ABV mean, or like the percentage. You could be kind of confused. Like, it's just sometimes confusing. So anyways, we broke it down. My teacher broke it down for me, and she says, if this is 100% of the bottle, right? So usually it's 750 milliliters, a wine bottle. So if you have the whole bottle and it's 10% alcohol, that means 10% of this whole bottle is alcohol. The rest is like juice and other stuff and additives and sugar. But 10% is alcohol, so that's interesting to know. Next, growing grapes. Okay, let's take a break there because my foot itches. Alright, you guys. We are back with chapter 2. This one's about growing grapes. right? Where do grapes come from? Question mark. They come from grapevines. Duh, Lena, duh. How long do grapevines live for? They live for decades. They actually live for a long time. They live for like almost. They could. I think they could live for 100 years actually. But they just keep rising in the spring, and then in this winter they go to sleep. So that's why they have so much energy to live for so long. Me, on the other hand, I can't do that. Okay. How many years after planted do vines produce grapes? It takes a couple, and then after they do produce grapes, they will produce grapes every single year. So flowering. So grapes, they start as hard little green balls. Like, and they're hard. They like tiny limes. Like tiny hard limes. And they're cute. They're little cute. So then what happens? The grape ripens. So the more ripe a grape is, the more sugar it has. I won't get into what this relates into, but if you're smart, or if you're just knowledgeable in wine, because just being knowledgeable in wine doesn't mean that you're smart, it just means that you're smart in wine. So if you know what this leads to, then hold your breath, because we're gonna not spoil it for other people later. The acid decreases, so the more riper, the more sweet it is, therefore the acid decreases, so it's not as like tart or sour. They swell with water, so they go from these like hard green things to these like swollen, juicy, wonderful, delicious things. The flavor becomes ripening, so again it becomes more sweeter. White grapes become a golden greenish color, and the black grapes will become like that purple colored, the deep purple that we're used to seeing. Where do grapes grow? They grow not anywhere, but they grow all over the world for sure. They need sunlight and heat for good quality. In the winter, they all rest. They all sleep in the winter. So from the equator, there's like, and then the equator, about 30 degrees to 50 degrees from the equator, out the equator, is the perfect. So either you go up 50 degrees and south 50 degrees. I mean, if you go to the North Pole, you're not going to find any there because it's 100 degrees. Or if you go to the Antarctica, you're not going to find any there because then that's 100 degrees. So somewhere between, my geography is not the best, but right there and right there, if this is Antarctica, the North Pole. So cool climate regions like Germany and northern France, the temperatures are low and the sunlight is weak, therefore the grapes struggle to ripen. So you'll find more like white grapes there because they're not as sweet, and you'll find more acidic grapes in those climates. So cool climate commonly grow ripe grapes. Yeah. Warm climate regions in Australia and California, shout out California. Yeah, the sun is high intensity. The grape ripen consistency is really ripe, and they're more common to grow red grapes. That's why you'll find that red wine is more sweeter, because they're made from red grapes, which are more ripe because there's more heat, and the grapes ripen a lot more better. So the effects of climates on the grapes: the colder it is, the lower levels of sugar, the higher levels of acid. This is very important if you're going to take the test. Actually, zoom in here, take a screenshot, because this literally is going to be on the test, like this, the way it's written exactly. It will probably ask something like, in colder climates, are the sugar levels higher or lower than the acid levels, are higher or lower? It's going to ask like some silly little question about this. So all of this, remember that. So in warmer climates, higher levels of sugar, lower acid. So I think what I did for the test, I would just put like acid low, and then sugar high, like that, and then just put like warm. Before I even start the test, I'll give you some tips later about how I do my test, but I just write down all my notes first before I even take the test, and then I could just look at my notes first. That way I don't get confused by all the words and the silly traps that they do. So then you would put cold here, and then you would put sugar lower, right? That's supposed to be a stripe. And then the acid is higher, like that. Yeah, very important. Take a screenshot. Okay, well, that's it for right now because someone's coming. Bye.